how to finally start loving yourself. Hi girlies, welcome back to another YouTube video. It's been a long time. It's been like 2 months since I've been on YouTube. You guys know, if you've been watching my other 2 or 3, I think 2 videos, I moved. We're gonna do a whole condo tour, but I wanna get a few more pieces of furniture and things like that, and then we'll get into the tour. But today I wanna talk to you guys about how can you finally start to love yourself? How to love yourself. This is something that I talk about all of the time on my TikTok and my Instagram, and I feel like my whole brand is glowing up into the best version of yourself, and a component of that is learning how to love yourself. And I wanna give you guys a little bit of a backstory. I thought for the longest time that I knew how to love myself, and I did not. I thought that loving yourself literally meant doing self-care, buying yourself things, like taking yourself out, bubble baths, doing your hair, even feeling confident within your own body and your looks and things like that. Now, that is definitely a component of self-love, but I really didn't get any type of deep understanding of what it means to love myself and how I never really loved myself. I hated a lot of things about myself. I hated my eyes, I hated my hair, I hated my body, I hated the way that I spoke, I hated the fact that I felt like I was not as smart as other kids in my grade. There was a lot of things that I hated about my appearance and just even in my inner world that I was trying to fix doing these self-care routines, not realizing that if I just did some more internal work and to really understand why I hated these parts about me in the first place and how to actually start loving these parts about me, only then did I not need to do all of these self-care routines in order to fix myself. I think that that's kind of where we go when we try and work out and get new outfits and change the way that we look. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's really, really important, and that we all, if we're on the self-love glow up journey, we need to understand like what's really going on and why we even hate ourselves in the first place. So if you are a woman, a girl, whatever, a guy even, who feels like they've been doing a lot of self-care, working out, getting their diet right, whatever, but you still feel shame about yourself, or you're judging yourself, or you wish that you were somebody else, this video is for you. So I'm gonna get comfortable here. I need to take off this tag, whatever. I'm gonna get comfortable here for a second because we need to have a talk about the root cause of your self-hate. Now, I've talked about this on one of my podcast episodes. If you guys are not following the podcast, the Glow Up Secrets podcast, I love it. I post it every single week. We talk about all the stuff that I talk about on my YouTube channel. And I talk a lot about understanding the root cause of the reason why you're feeling a certain way or acting a specific way, whatever the case is. It's very important that we understand the why behind everything. And there is a reason why you hate yourself. You didn't come into this world as a self-hating human being. Let me give you an example from my own personal experience. I didn't like my eyes because there was a guy in my high school who made fun of my eyes, and he was my crush, okay? So that really hurt me. And I do have big eyes, and not a lot of people have big eyes like me, but I started to hate that because I didn't feel normal in school. I hated my hair because it was not celebrated. I went to a predominantly white school, and there was no one that really looked like me. And it's funny because my friends always loved my skin tone and my color, and so I loved that about me and I embraced that. But when it came to my hair, none of my friends were really uplifting, celebrating my hair texture, mainly because I just didn't have the same hair type as most of the white girls in my school. But because of that, I felt so indifferent and so not really seen that I started hating that part of me, when really and truly, just because I have naturally curly hair doesn't mean that's something that you should hate. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's the society that you live in and the community that you live in that might affect the way that you look at yourself. Also, growing up, I started to hate my financial situation because I saw friends, I was around people who were a little bit more wealthy than I was. And of course, going on social media too is seeing how everyone else is living. It doesn't really help if you are somebody who didn't come from money. And because of that, I felt a lot of shame about the way that I was spending money, or the fact that I didn't have the things that other people did. And it just created a lot of shame and also a lot of self-hate, like looking at myself in the mirror and being like, you don't hold up the way other people hold up, and you are wrong and you are bad, and I hate you for this. So it's important to take a look at the things that you don't like about yourself and why you don't like these things about yourself. Most likely it's something that somebody said when you were younger, or just the society that you currently live in, or just the people around you, or the influences that are currently in your life that is making you either love or hate yourself. And when you realize that, it's a little bit freeing, because you realize that you didn't come into this world actually hating yourself. And the only reason that you turned on these parts of you in the first place was so that you could get love and attention and affection from the people that were closest around you. I want you to understand that, because some of us, when we know we're in that state of self-hate, we hate the fact that we hate ourselves. But I want you to think about it like this. It's a survival mechanism. When you start to turn on parts of you because these parts of you did not get you what you needed in childhood, in life in general, the most normal thing for you to do is to turn on that thing and try and be the opposite of that. But what happens is you create a lot of split in between you, and then you have parts of you that haven't gone anywhere. The curly hair will always be with me. It's always here, but now I've turned on it and now I'm hating on it. And what type of internal state is that? That's a self-hating internal state, and you don't want to be in that. It gets very tiring. It gets very tiring to live your whole life hating your natural state. And that is not to say that you can't work on changing things, but the first thing when it comes to self-love is to accept yourself as a human being for who you are. And that can be very difficult if you don't understand that. The reason why you hate yourself in the first place is because these parts of you just did not get you what you wanted in life. And that's understandable. But it's also something that we don't need to turn on anymore. In doing this type of practice of like seeing what the parts of you that you currently hate didn't get you what you wanted, when you start to do that, like journaling that out, you start to already have more compassion and love to yourself, because you realize like, oh, the only reason why I was hating my curly hair was because it wasn't really accepted around me. And if I was put in a different situation and around different people in my life, in a Black community, I can guarantee you people would be commenting on my hair and loving my hair. Now again, this is not to say that in order for us to love ourselves, people need to also accept it. But the reality is, you live in a social construct, you live in a society and community, and that is who we are down to the core. And we do need acceptance and love and validation. And those things are literally survival for us when we are growing up. So it is important to know and acknowledge and not hate yourself because you hated yourself because no one else liked your hair or no one else liked your body. And a lot of these parts of you come from your childhood, right? So I always like to send myself, my younger self, a lot of love, and that part of you is still with you to this day. You have a part of you that is feeling shame about your hair or your body. And I think it's important that you send acceptance and love to these parts of you and being like, it's okay that you have curly hair. It's okay that your body doesn't look like all the other girls' bodies. It's okay that your financial situation is what it is right now. You are not wrong and you're not bad for that. And I think that's such an important part of your self-love journey, is sending your inner child love and acceptance. And here's a tip when it comes to accepting yourself, because you might ask yourself and you might be asking me in your head like, Alicia, but I can't accept the fact that my body doesn't look like all the other girls, or my hair just doesn't, like I don't feel good when my hair is like this, whatever the case is. One tip that I can give you when it comes to self-acceptance is to try and find value in every part of you that you hate. Now, again, it's gonna be hard until you really understand like why you hate these parts of you in the first place. And I'm not saying, okay, I got cut off because people are doing work upstairs, so hopefully they don't do that again. But like I was saying, I'm not saying that you need to accept where you are and not want to change yourself. I talked about this in one of my podcast episodes as well. Can you still love and accept yourself but still want to change? But to learn how to actually accept yourself and to send yourself actual real love, it's really important that you find value in the parts of you that you have been hating. So let me give you an example. When I started my self-love journey, like my actual self-love journey, I had to, instead of just saying like, oh, I love my hair, the parts of you that don't love your hair is not gonna resonate with that affirmation. And this is where people get affirmations wrong when it comes to like self-love affirmations. Like you go in the mirror and you say, I love myself. It's like, no girl, there's a part of you that does not love yourself, okay? So like we can't pretend and lie to ourselves. But what you can do is bridge the gap. So instead of saying you love all of you, pick out one thing that you actually do like or love about you. So let's say my hair. When I first started to try and accept my hair, I started to realize like I can't keep hating on my hair anymore. Like my natural hair is natural. This actually is a hair piece. I started to value the things about my hair that was good. My natural hair actually grows and it's really healthy if I take care of it. Now, my natural hair is not as long as this hair piece, which I love this and I love the look and I want my hair to be like that, but old me would have just hated the fact that because my hair didn't look like this, I'm just like unworthy and just so ugly and like whatever. But now I appreciate my natural hair. I wear it out when I want to, depending on what I want to feel like. But at the end of the day, I accept what my hair is and how it is, and I love my hair. And I think that, again, it's important that you find value in everything that you currently are hating. And even like my body, for the longest time, I hated like everything about my body. And then I started to realize like, hey, what are things that I do like about my body? I like my skin. I like my skin tone. I like my body shape. It might not be, I might not be as thin or as fit or whatever as I want, but there's so many valuable things that you can find within yourself. And again, it's not about obsessing and loving every single part of you, but start small. What is one thing about your hair that you can say that you like about it, or that is good and valuable? Maybe you don't even necessarily like it, but what a lot of other people would even see value in. Things like that. It will really help you start to shift your perspective from just so much hate to like, this thing is not as bad as I've been saying it is. Because it's really true. So some of the things that you can do on a daily basis, because you're gonna have to start really practicing self-love on a daily basis and trying to integrate different parts within you and just becoming more aware, is every time that you start to catch yourself looking in the mirror or just saying something that you just don't like about yourself or thinking that thought, try and stop yourself and question, okay, where is this coming from? Right now I'm hating my hair because I want to go out and I want to fit in with the crowd right now. If that's the case, you can send yourself love and compassion. You don't need to hate on the fact that your hair is natural and it's not looking like everyone else's hair. You can simultaneously put in a hair piece without disregarding and hating on your natural hair. And that's the type of energy that I'm in when there's something about me that I would like to experience in a different way. It's not about hating my natural state. It's about, I want to experience a different state of being without hating myself for it. Another good thing that you can do, and this is kind of like a journal prompt thing that you can do, is you can write out all of the things that you don't like or hate about yourself. And then just get into this energy of just thinking like, if my little child, my future child, were to walk up to me right now with this piece of paper of all the things that it hates about, and this is the things that you've written down, what would you say to your child? And then on another piece of paper, you would write out those responses. That is something that now you can take with you and hold dearly and go back to on the days that these thoughts come up. You have countered this belief or this thought about yourself. And I think it's really important that you do that, because you can start to realize like there is an inner child within you. Every time you have this thought or this negative thought really about hating your hair, well, If your younger child were to come up to you and say, Mom, I hate my hair, what would you say? You would say something loving. You would say, I know you might hate your hair right now, but you don't need to. Just because everyone else doesn't have the same hair as you does not mean that your hair is worthy of being hated on. You have beautiful hair. It's long, it's curly, it's healthy, it's whatever you want to find value in. Those are the type of things that you would say to your own child, and that's something that you should be learning how to say to yourself, because you are deserving of that same message, which you might not have gotten when you were younger. So I think, again, when it comes to self-love, it goes a lot deeper than just on the surface trying to change everything out of a place of self-hate. It's okay that you want to improve things in your life, but you want to have this undertone of self-love no matter what you do in your life. I think it's so important. And when it comes to trying to change anything about you, it's going about it in a way of like, I am not discounting who I am and what God or the universe has made me. You are allowed to want to change from a place of self-love and exploration. You're allowed to want to change, but at the end of the day, it becomes very tiring when you are constantly just putting yourself down and hating every part of you. And that's no way to live, and that's no way to self-improve, and that's no way to just be. So girlies, when it comes to loving yourself, it can definitely be a struggle, and it's gonna take some work and some time and some dedication if you know you haven't been loving yourself. And just know that you don't have to practice self-love or think of yourself as somebody who loves themselves every day in order to be somebody who loves themselves. Okay, you're gonna have days where you're not feeling yourself and you can't find anything valuable about yourself and you can't hype yourself up. What you can do in that moment is send compassion and love and acceptance that you are feeling that way. That is self-love, okay? So with that said, that's gonna be today's video. I am absolutely gonna touch more on these topics moving forward. Every week, you're gonna get a new YouTube video from me, all just surrounding the glow up, loving ourselves, feminine energy, all of the things. And I want you guys to comment down below what resonated with you and to let me know what you wanna hear next. Of course, this community, you are a part of this community. And so I like to create content that is for you. Of course, a lot of the things that I talk about I have been through personally, and I just want to share what has worked for me and what's helped me on my glow up journey. And yes, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. And I'm back, like I said, on YouTube, and I will be continuously posting. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Everything is The Glow Up Secrets. I'll have everything linked below. All of my links for my favorite book recommendations and just anything that you need to know will be down there. And yeah, girlies, I'm so glad to be back. Sorry about the few pauses that happened in between the video, but without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!